A bullhorn in Congress. Yeah, that's not justice. That's desperation. I'm the messy conservative. Let's clean it up.
Messy conservative, don't fit your little mold. High heels, high stakes, little bit bold. It's Nika on the mic, yeah, we running this show. If it's clean, keep scrolling, we like it messy though. Messy conservative, yeah, you heard me right. Hot flick, think quick, gonna own the night.
Destroy our democracy! This is a violation of the Constitution! It is! It's a violation of the Constitution. I'm out of order, but y'all are doing illegal.
Representative Persons Mullica has waived closed. The question now recurs on final passage of HB 1D. The clerk will unlock the machine and the members will proceed to vote. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? The clerk will lock the machine and announce the vote.
83 yeas, 28 nays, Mr. Speaker.
Show the bill passes. Read the next bill.
None on the desk, Mr. Speaker.
You've got a mic, a platform, a vote, and you still need a bullhorn? That's not leadership. That's political theater. Now let's clean this up because this is where it gets messy. The Supreme Court did not say Black people can't vote. They did not end the Voting Rights Act. What they are doing is limiting how race is used when drawing district maps. Cases like Brnovich versus the Democratic Committee already made it harder to claim discrimination under Section 2. And now the courts are asking, should districts be drawn primarily based on race at all? So the real question is this about voting rights or is this about keeping political power through racial math? Now, you already know when anything like this happens, here comes Roland Martin to stick his would-be neck out.
We walked everybody through what were going to be the implications of Donald Trump winning in 2016. We told you. Everything we told you happened. We told y'all what the implications were going to be if they win in 2024. We told y'all about Project 2025. We sounded the alarm. We told y'all about the courts. We told y'all about what they wanted to slash. And all these folk, and you got some Negroes out here. Oh, Trump ate too. I saw some fool talk about, oh yeah, I told y'all Trump did some good things, and there was a Black woman who got sick back in the day, and he went and paid her medical bills. So you think that negates him being a racist? Republicans are looking at the 3 Reconstruction Amendments, the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendments that were passed by the radical Republicans who oppose slavery. And so what today's Republican Party, not the radical Republicans in the 1800s, today's Republican Party is aligned with the Southern Democrats of the 1800s. Today's Republican Party is sitting here going, how can we dismantle as many of the laws and the rules that were put in place during the Civil Rights Movement?
You see, everything about Roland is stupid because just like wearing a quarter zip when you know your neck won't allow you to zip it up, you decide to come with us with nonsense and lies. That party that didn't want Blacks or slaves or anybody in that vein to vote were the Democrats, not the Republicans. When they couldn't get Black people's votes, they made a law for them not to vote at all. Once Black people could vote, they decided to make the KKK so they can scare Black people from voting. And then when they got really good and figured it out, they took a bill that the Republicans had just 2 years prior, all right, and only a couple months prior when they introduced it, they took that bill and introduced it themselves and made it seem like they were the saviors of civil rights and then added everybody else in the world onto it. And Black people never got anything that was on that bill. This is the same Black man, okay? Roland is the one who said, don't worry about tangibles. You asking for tangibles, just vote. You've been voting like this for the last 60, 70 years, and what have you gotten for it? Absolutely nothing. They use Black people to pass everything, and that's why they're doing this whole boogeyman scare tactic. We told y'all.
They're going to put you all back in chains.
All right, you guys saw that nonsense that Roland had to say about black people, and we told y'all, all right? And then I even had to add in, yes, Joe Biden, because Joe Biden does the scare tactics as well. The entire Democratic Party only wants you to be represented by the Democratic Party, but that's not empowerment. That's political containment. You see, the Democrats' entire strategy depends on grouping black people together to guarantee a Democratic win. And so now you have the liberal media like CNN framing this as some massive injustice. Watch.
My opening statement tonight. Today, 6 justices all but threw away the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Now, they left the words on the paper, but they erased the meaning. The way poll taxes and literacy tests and jelly bean counting tried to negate the 15th Amendment that gave black people the right to vote. Why? Because voting is the single most important power in a democracy. Not just the act of going to the polls and filling in some bubbles. No, it's the ability to vote for your candidate of choice. Now, you are not entitled to vote for the winner, but gerrymandering districts can mean that your power is so watered down that you never even had a chance to choose who represents you or pretends to. Enter Louisiana. The court struck down its map today, saying that lawmakers illegally used race to draw a majority black district. At the heart of the ruling was Section 2 of the Civil Rights Act that LBJ signed. And before I explain Section 2, why don't you listen to what LBJ said when he signed it into law?
Millions of Americans are denied the right to vote because of their color. This law will ensure them the right to vote. The wrong is one which no American in his heart can justify.
Ensure them the right to vote. Section 2, it tried to prevent racial gerrymandering precisely because it diluted voting power. And that's now all but out the window.
When did it come out? Just now?
No, it came out this morning, but basically very much narrows the Voting Rights Act.
Was it considered a win for who?
A win for Republicans.
I love it.
Do you? Now, it wasn't a cakewalk, but before today, you had a fighting chance to ensure that the blood, the sweat, the tears, and the indignities and the violence towards those who have the audacity to believe in equality didn't fight and legislate in vain.
All right, so lastly, let's get into this. Let's get into Brooklyn Hakeem, aka Hakeem Jeffries, because while folks are screaming about corruption, you have leadership like him saying something that should make you pause. Watch.
Well, these MAGA Supreme Court justices are disgraceful. And as you've indicated, Ben, for a long period of time, they've been trying to gut the Voting Rights Act, and they were able to do it with this decision today. In terms of the impact on the 2026 election, this decision comes so late in the primary process, where in many of the states, particularly in the Deep South, either the primary has already occurred or the certification period for getting on the ballot has been closed. It's going to be very difficult for these MAGA Republicans in many of these Deep South states to try to use this Supreme Court decision to adversely impact the 2026 election. In fact, just a few moments ago, the governor of Alabama said that she was not in a position to call a special session to try to change the Alabama map, which has 2 significant majority black districts right now, until after the 2030 census, because of another ruling that prohibits them from doing so.
So Brooklyn Hakeem has no problem when it comes to gerrymandering. He just has a problem when it's the Republicans who benefit, because nobody had a problem with Virginia. All of those Republicans in the state of Virginia had no representation. I live in the state of Maryland. We don't have representation, and that's because the Democrats have gerrymandered it so.
In the new Congress, we're going to have to do something about this Supreme Court, and let me be very clear. Everything is on the table.
I bet.
Everything to deal with this corrupt MAGA majority that is issuing political opinions that are designed to bolster the prospects of the Republican Party, and we will not allow them to succeed.
And when he says everything is on the table, he absolutely means it, because they're going to use everything but the kitchen sink to try and get back majority. These people are outrageous. These people are insane, and they only care about power. He has no interest in actually helping his constituents. All right. Do you see his constituents where he is? Absolutely disgusting. These people don't care. They just care about power. And that's the reason why you have to vote them out. Period. All right, you guys, you saw all of that mess. Now let's clean it up. Now, to be clear, Democrats have floated ideas like expanding the number of Supreme Court justices to limit conservative influence, and yes, eliminating the filibuster to push legislation through. But here's the issue. You can't call the system rigged and then propose changing the rules the second it stops working for you. How do you do that? Houseway. That's not reform. That's control. And this is why the people don't trust the outrage, because it only shows up when the outcome doesn't go their way. It doesn't show up any other time. Corrupt when they lose, reform when they want power back. But they could keep on, because the American people could see right through Screaming Jay Hawkins and her bullhorn saying, oh, this is unconstitutional. The American people can also see through Roland when he tries to use scare tactics to get you back on the plantation for the Democrats. Yeah, it's not going to work. Just like your neck in that quarter zip. And of course, we can't forget the media and Brooklyn Hakeem, who are complicit in telling the American people lies just so they can have power back. They're not interested in doing anything for you. As I said before, they will not get back in power because the American people don't want them back. And that's a fact. But now I want to know what other messy conservatives think. What do you think about all of this nonsense that's happening? The screaming on the House floor, all the way to Brooklyn Hakeem, the media, everybody making a scare tactic to say it's unconstitutional and Black people are getting their power stolen. Roland Martin saying, we told y'all they was going to put y'all back in chains. Yeah, all of this nonsense. I want to know what you think about it, okay? And I also want to know what liberals and independents think about it as well. You can comment down below. Also, if you want to support the platform, it will be in the description below and at the end of this video. As always, I'm Mika, the Messy Conservative, and we're here to clean it up. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Messy conservative, yeah, you heard me right. Hot flick, think quick, gonna own the night.